Hi, everybody. It is I, Joey, from the Adventure Archive, and today I'm just working on a map, and I figured, you know what? Why not uh, stream? Maybe some people from the Discord might pop in and say hi, and you know, we'll see what happens. All right. Just wanted to make sure I had it set up where I can see a chat if somebody were to enter and start commenting. So what am I working on exactly? What is this? Well, it is a map of Innsmouth, which you might be familiar with. It is a fictional port town, port city, in H.P. Lovecraft's story in Massachusetts. Um, I really like Massachusetts. Mass has, of course, Salem, which is a really cool town. I got the privilege of getting to go there during Halloween, and wow, they know how to do Halloween for sure. So that was really cool. Now, why am I creating a half-assed map of Innsmouth? Well, I'm going to be running a game next month, a special game for the channel, and it is Ghostbusters. And so, while I'm making this map on stream, I'm going to be talking about Ghostbusters a little bit, talking about the Ghostbusters game a little bit. And since this is a more casual stream, you might hear dogs barking. You might hear cats yowling. I don't know. If you do, I apologize, but this is just a hangout stream. So, not too worried about it. This is what I've made so far. And if you are curious, I'm using the Incarnate software or website to create this map. And if the map icons and overall look kind of seems familiar to you, that is because it is, if you might already can tell, I'm using assets from Fallout. Because, I mean, it's perfect. It's perfect for a Ghostbusters game. You know, it's like a cool grid map with all the little Fallout icons I'm using here to make different special locations or locations of importance. And yeah. So, Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters is one of those things that, and I'm going to be just making, it's a little city map, right? And I'm making all of these tiny little buildings by basically deleting square portions of land. So the buildings and the water are technically the same thing, but you know, it works. It looks like a little city map layout. But anyway, back about Ghostbusters in particular. My love for Ghostbusters started very early on when I was a kid. We, of course, had the real Ghostbusters cartoon, which was actually my first exposure to the Ghostbusters. Um, I didn't see the movies till a little bit later, and but the cartoon, The Real Ghostbusters, was on TV. I think I caught it on USA. I think USA used to show reruns because it's a little bit before my time. Uh, I was born in the late 80s, and so I caught reruns of the show. Then of course, I saw the movie eventually, uh, and I just loved it. It was one of those things where when I was younger, I used to actually be very deeply afraid of the supernatural and paranormal without knowing what it is, which is kind of the point of paranormal stuff. It's the unnatural, unexplainable, right? But Ghostbusters, and this was also said, I think, during an interview with, I believe it was Harold Ramis who mentioned it, that in the 80s, Ghostbusters helped a lot of kids kind of overcome their fear of those ideas, because now there was heroes representing a way to combat it, to prevent it, or to stop it. And that's what it did for me when I was really little. So sometimes this software is a little slow, and it might run a little bit slower for me because I'm streaming and all this stuff. I don't have the world's best computer, that's for sure. But those were kind of like my beginnings with Ghostbusters. And then, of course, during my time in the 90s, they released a new series called Extreme Ghostbusters. Everything was extreme in the 90s. And that show, which I actually highly recommend, it still holds up today. It was definitely one of those cartoons where, yeah, it was for kids, but the writers definitely had the poor parents who would have to sit through these cartoons in mind, because there's a lot of not bad or anything, but there's more adult humor in that show, and it has more compelling story plots and story elements and stuff like that. So let's see here. This is a really boring stream, I know, but it's just a little bit of something to help me not go crazy just sitting in the quiet working on this map. Let's make a path. So I'm gonna make like some kind of like side streets. Ooh, no, that's too big. And because every city has, you know, little back alleyways and stuff. This software is a lot of fun to use. And by nature, I am a very impatient person when it comes to like the art or creativity that I'm doing. So this is a really huge deal for me that I'm actually even getting this far with it. I have a really bad habit of starting really cool or fun art projects and then abandoning them very quickly, because I'm either not satisfied with how it's coming out, or I just get bored of it. And I'm also terrible because there's always probably an easier way to do things. Like, watch, you see me struggling with this? There's always probably a better way to do things. There we go. There's probably always an easier way to do something, but I will do it the most difficult and slow way possible every time, guaranteed, because I am too lazy and too unapologetic to like research how to do things the better way. I'm a terrible student. Terrible student. I'm a good teacher. When I know how to do something, I can teach somebody else how to do it fairly well. I was taught by my English teacher how to teach a little bit, you know, and he taught me, you know, not everybody learns the same and stuff like that, and different folks, different strokes, as they say. Now, what are all these little buildings? I don't know. It doesn't matter. This is literally just for design and just to look like it's a city. I love maps, and I love both simple and complicated maps. But for some reason, I always feel like if you're making a map of like a modern day setting, it needs to be a little more filled in than like a fantasy map, because it should be heavily populated, you know? So this is me attempting to do that. This by the way, this is the first time I've ever done anything like this. I don't do maps like this usually. Modern day maps. I've made a map before for like Cyberpunk Red, and also for the Fallout tabletop game, which is why I even had these assets to begin with originally. I ran some Fallout, the role-playing game published by Modifius. It uses a 2D20 system. Very fun game. But yeah, that's why I even bothered going through the trouble of getting these assets. I don't even remember where I got them from or how I got them. It was a couple years. It was many years ago now. But I'm sure glad I did take the trouble and time to do it then, so that I would have them here now. Oh my gosh, I'm so terrible at this, you guys. So, why am I going to run a Ghostbusters game? Well, to put it simply, I really just love the Ghostbusters concept and things like that. And they published a game. West End Games published a Ghostbusters role-playing game back in '86. It was made by Sandy Peterson, the man who created Call of Cthulhu. Everybody loves that game, which used like I forget what it was called, just the basic role playing, but the percentile rules, you know, percentile die rules that RuneQuest, I think it was RuneQuest that made that system, you know, what it would become. They were the root of it. I am not by any means any kind of tabletop RPG historian, aficionado, connoisseur. I am a dabbler, and as long as I always claim to be a dabbler, when I give wrong information, I don't feel bad about it. Well, I feel a little bad about it, but you know. Oh, we got a few viewers. Hi, everybody watching or listening. Welcome. Thank you for stopping by. if you have anything you'd like to talk about, talk away in the chat. All right, so what was I doing? I lose track of my thoughts very easily. Oh, why am I making this Ghostbusters map and Ghostbusters game to begin with? I really enjoy the Ghostbusters, as I said, and then I really enjoy the actual official game that was made, and I even have modified it some. It's a very simple game. It's a D6 dice pool. Some sources on the internet claim that it is the first of its kind, you know, that D6 dice pool. But it was more popularized by Star Wars, which was also published by West End Games. So that one is just what I've read on the internet. I don't know if Ghostbusters are a frightfully cheerful RPG game is truly the first one to use a D6 dice pool, but perhaps it was. And if it is, what a great call that was. But the game, as it was designed, really captures the feeling of the Ghostbusters film, of which it was based upon. And I was listening to an interview with Sandy Peterson not too long ago where he kind of explained that when he was first developing it, West End Games, I guess, didn't really directly tell him they wanted him to just pretty much make a Call of Cthulhu 2.0 with Ghostbusters, but that's kind of what they were hoping. At least that's how it sounded. That's how it seemed it was implied. But when they got back what he was making, they were like, oh, well, this is different than what we were expecting from you, but this might actually work. And I think it did. I don't think the Ghostbusters role-playing game needed to be Call of Cthulhu by nature, as far as because the way Peterson explained it, it was like they were kind of hoping for a more grisly, darker take, and in his mind, like the fans who would pick up this box set role-playing game, who were like fans of the film, or maybe even the cartoon at the time, they weren't gonna be so into the darker nature of Call of Cthulhu. And I think he made a good call on that. So good job, Mr. Peterson. Call of Cthulhu is also a great game, and you most certainly could run a Ghostbusters game using the mechanics from Call of Cthulhu, without a doubt, but he made the right call on his own. All right. So, another reason why I want to run a Ghostbusters game is because it's going to be October next month, and Halloween is going to be at the end of the month, right? So, of course, we want to have, an October-y, Halloween-y, weenie, feeling kind of game, perhaps. And I talked to Jason, was like, maybe I could do a special game, and it's Ghostbusters. And he liked the idea. A few other people liked the idea too. There's even members in the Discord, viewers, who enjoyed the idea. So here I am, working on making that a thing. And Jason and I have been struggling but progressing on making Ghostbusters work in the Foundry VTT software, because it's, by default, you have to download and install game systems in order to run them as intended. Well, Ghostbusters, the role-playing game, has some unique mechanics that you'd have to program them to work And through vigorous searching, trial and errors, we have gotten the most important aspects of the game to work on Foundry. So we will be able to play the game as intended, but it won't be like the most polished. You know, it won't be like what Patrick does for the Dragon. Like, he made the Dragonbane stuff, so, and that's what we use when we play Dragonbane, and it is phenomenal. Perfect. So let's give these buildings a little more. Right now, like, I've just been kind of doing rectangle shapes, but let's give these buildings a little bit of oomph to them, you know. Let's make these two buildings connect. Why not? Why do they connect? I don't know. But they do now. Now they do. And so yeah, the game is gonna work out just fine, I think. And we have the players who will be playing in it. One person being a completely new player that you will have not seen on the channel before. And I hope they do well and enjoy the game. Most importantly, I hope they enjoy the game. But they better be good too. I don't want no crappy role players. Nah, I'm just messing. I am not the greatest role player myself, actually. So I never judge realistically about how other people play the game, because that's what I love about tabletop role-playing games. Play them however you want. If you're maybe not vibing with the table, then you just excuse yourself from the table and find a different game to play in and find different players to try different games out with. It's that simple, folks. Alright. Let's put some, you know, little harbor houses here. That might be, yeah, that's too close to the water. See how it just became part of the water? That's because I'm literally just removing land to make these little these little buildings. So, and like I said, there's probably an easier way to do this, or a different way, a more proficient way, but here I am doing what I'm doing. Yeah, that's good enough. And we will, we'll make some more alleyway streets. We'll have one that goes down to here. And we'll have where it goes up. All through here. Little dead end there. Bunny Cat likes. Hey, who will join the group? Well, and for those of you who might be seeing this and don't know, Bunny Cat Likes is a very special person in my life. It is the person who as I create these worlds and create games for my players to enjoy, it would not be possible without Bunny Cat Likes, because she created me. That is my mother. Hi, Mom. Welcome to the stream. The saddest thing about this is I'm a terrible son. I don't call enough. I don't visit enough. And her being on the stream right now live is probably the most time we are going to spend together in like 2 weeks. I'm sorry, Mom. I love you. I will come see you. But to answer your question, Bunny Cat Likes, it is someone you know. That's all I'll say. Ooh, building's too big. Too big. No, I done did it. There we go. There's the sweet spot. Boom. Yeah. Now, earlier I had said that this is a half-assed map of Innsmouth. What did I mean by that? Well, I didn't necessarily mean it because I'm like just a terrible designer of some kind. I say that because there are like there are some maps of Innsmouth that already exist, and I definitely use them for a frame of reference, but I'm kind of doing my own thing and putting some places in different places. I'm putting some places in different places. I'm putting certain buildings in other areas of what would be the actual map of Innsmouth. Like Innsmouth Cafe is actually somewhere down here, I think. But to be fair, it's more than perfectly fine because the Innsmouth maps that I've seen are all based on the 1920s or 1930s, which is when most Call of Cthulhu games take place, right? So, I think it's perfectly fine that I am kind of making my own versions of, or my own version of this town. So, let's talk a little bit more about Ghostbusters, which is... Ghostbusters was, as they say, and truly by all means, lightning in a bottle. It is a movie that is fantastic and does so much. Oh, see, that's not... See how the road goes a little bit into the building? I don't want that. So I gotta figure this out. There we go. There we go. Perfect. But yeah, the movie was just pure brilliance by Dan Aykroyd and Harold Ramis. May he rest in peace. It was a lot of people will say that it is a comedy movie, right? But for me personally, I don't see it that way as much as I see it as it is a science fiction film than a comedy. And I think that's what made the movie so damn funny. That and keeps it funny, holding up, you know, for years to come. It is a timeless film. Even the parts of it that would make it seem dated, it is just a classic, great story about three guys that, although they were all each individually scientists to some degree, two of them more so than one, they were just average Joes, you know, like they weren't even really all that great in their professional career paths. They were kind of laughing stocks and not taken very seriously by other scientists. So let's see here. What am I wanting to do here? We're going to work on this little peninsula-like area a little more. we're gonna make kind of like a little neighborhood here. This is where all the rich people live, you know what I mean? Like, they can afford the houses furthest out in the water. They have their little communities back here and cults and stuff. Okay. And we'll put you know, a smaller street. That extends out to here. And then it'll have roads that branch off. And we'll put one here too. That kind of goes around this building. There. I don't know. You know, just to undo that line. Just to give it a little more something. Because why not? What do I want to do next? I don't know. Guess I'll work on... That's another thing. I'm very scatterbrained. I have a hard time staying focused on whatever it is I'm doing. Surprisingly, tabletop RPGs, especially if I'm running the game, well, I guess it makes sense, because if you're running the game and you're the GM, you are thinking about a bunch of different shit at one time. So that might be why I enjoy DMing and GMing so much. But as a player, I can still stay fairly focused on what's going on, and I don't get distracted, and don't let my mind wander too much. The only times I really get distracted during a tabletop role-playing game is if I hear a word or something that I'm not familiar with, and I you know, look it up to see what it is. So that way I have a better understanding of maybe what's going on at the table, which is still engaging with the game technically, I would say. So let's give this building, like, let's give it 3 little areas here, just so it's a little different. And see how there's like a little slight imperfection right here where it's like a little bit out. Let it go. It's okay. It's not going to be the end of the world. This building, let's give it a little bit of groove there. And then another one here. You know, like a just for fun. This is a lot more work than it looks like, but I'm enjoying it. I'm having a good time. Let's put a big building here. For this building, let's give it a long branching off part here, and then And then there. Yeah, that looks cool. And then let's just do two elongated areas and then give them a little connection in the center, near the center. Yeah. Oh. A funny thing about me making this map is I really didn't need to make this map. I could have just simply used one of the existing Innsmouth maps, but I wanted it to kind of like look and feel a little bit retro-y and 80s-esque because of Ghostbusters, you know. So I'm curious. Alright, yeah, I could put buildings behind the text. I wasn't sure if I could or not, if it would look bad. And it doesn't, it looks fine. Okay. Like, I knew I physically could do this, but I didn't know if it would, like, detract from the text. And I don't think that it does. So we're gonna do that. Nice. 5 viewers. Holy crap. That's more than I expected. Hello, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the live stream. I'm sorry it's not probably something you were wanting / expecting, like an actual play. This is just a little vibes hangout. And I am very happy you could join us. Now, let's talk about something that might be semi-interesting and is at least relevant to what I am doing. Ghostbusters, the frightfully cheerful role-playing game, is, I believe that's what it was called. Published in 1986, West End Games. How does the game work? Well, you make your Ghostbuster, and the way the game is intended to work is you players are the Ghostbusters of a franchisee. So whatever your hometown is, and this was back in the 80s, so there wasn't online play. 1986, they weren't doing virtual tabletops in 1986. So you were playing with your friends in person, and let's say you were from Salem, Massachusetts, right? You would have your game set in Salem, Massachusetts. And what made that game really kind of fun when my friends and I played it is when we had it take place in the town we were living in. You know where everything is. So the game is at its peak fun and immersion whenever you actually set it in whatever kind of hometown that you're in at the time. Because if you say, oh, you get a call from Tony's Pizza, and you and your friends all have been to Tony's Pizza many a times, you already know the smells, the sounds, you know what it looks like. And that helps make it an extremely immersive game without even having to really trying too hard to tap into immersing yourself into it. Now, I chose Innsmouth because the players who will be playing in the game, me, Jason, Matt, someone else, we all live in different areas. So we don't share that place, right? But I know that both Matt and Jason have read H.P. Lovecraft's works, and they are both familiar with Innsmouth. I'm familiar with Innsmouth and his works, so I picked this place because A, it's spooky themed, without a doubt, and of course the Ghostbusters would be having to deal with some like Call of Cthulhu type shit. They even dealt with Cthulhu in the cartoon. Well, dealt with is not exactly what they did, but the creature featured in the show. Yes, Bunny Cat, it is extremely tedious. But somebody's got to do it, right? And when I'm done with this map, of course, I'll, with Jason's help, he'll make this map available for people to download and use for whatever they want. You know, if you're playing a Call of Cthulhu game, if you're also running Ghostbusters games, whatever you may want to use it for, you will be more than welcome to take it and take it for a spin. Now, one of the things that I am thinking of is, do I want to make battle maps for this game, or do I just want it to be theater of the mind and kind of have images on screen of like, this is kind of where you are. So combat in the Ghostbusters role-playing game is extremely simple. It doesn't really take into account with things like range and all that. Although it can, right? Like ghosts that are further away would be obviously harder to hit with your Neutrino wand and so forth. But that's what I'm going to talk to the players about and kind of get their opinions on. I am, of course, not opposed at all to making maps for combat, if that is how they would prefer it. But if they don't prefer, like if it doesn't need to be that and they could just do theater of the mind, then I won't bother with it, you know, because it would be not a tremendous amount of work, but it would be some work, right? Which again, I don't mind doing at all. But if I don't need to, I will be a lazy bastard about it. Oh my goodness, look at all this. I still have like all of this to kind of figure out what to do with. All of this down here. It's crazy. But I'm enjoying myself. So, other features about the Ghostbusters game is, again, it's a D6 dice pool system. You have stats, and whatever your number is in your stat, that's how many D6s you roll, add up the total, and try to hit a target number. Then there's not really skills in the game, but talents. You could be talented at different things. You could be talented at anything. They have some listed talents, and then it also says that if you want to work with your GM or Ghostmaster, you can pretty much make a talent for anything. So if you wanted to be, and your stats are bronze, or no, that's my stat, muscles, moves, smarts, and cool. Those are your 4 stats. Muscles, obviously, is strength-based things. It also has like water, like holding your breath under muscles. So basically, anything with your body that requires stamina or strength, It's like both of those things and Constitution all in one. If we were to compare it to D&D, moves is of course basically your dexterity. Um, some examples are like driving, firing a weapon, um, climb or not climbing. Climbing would be muscles, but like acrobatics, um, parkour, parkour. That would be probably under moves. Smarts. If you wanted to be talented with computers or just science, medicine, if you wanted to be able to recall history lore, you're going to make smarts rolls. And for those talents, things would be like a paranormal, parapsychology, uh, technician, repair, being a repair technician. So if your Ghostbusters equipment breaks on the field, you could be talented at repairing it. What happens is when you have a talent in something, and you start off with a talent in each stat, whenever you do something that involves your talent, you get to roll an additional 3 dice. So if I have a 3 in muscles, and I'm talented at lifting things, and I need to lift a heavy, let's just say a car exploded and the door flew and trapped another Ghostbuster underneath it, and I need to lift that car door off of the fellow Ghostbuster. I'm making a muscles check, so I'm rolling 3 dice, and then because I'm talented at lifting things, I get to roll another 3, so I'm rolling a total of 6 dice. Ghostmaster doesn't tell you what the challenge is because there's another mechanic in the game that allows you to add more dice if you feel like I've really got to pass this test, which I'll talk about in a second. Now, when you do roll for a skill check, you always roll 1 die, 1d6 that's different than the rest. It's called the ghost die. And if it rolls on a 6, which in the original game, and I have a set of the original game's dice, it shows the little Ghostbusters no ghost logo, right? And if that happens, that's bad. That 6 immediately becomes a 0. It doesn't count towards the score that you're trying to roll up towards, and something bad happens. It's a minor inconvenience if you succeeded the roll but still had a ghost die, and it could be something really bad if you fail the roll and also still got the ghost die to pop up on the ghost. So for example, let's say I'm trying to climb up a tree to get into the second story of a building. It's a tree close to the building. I roll and I get a ghost die. If I succeeded my roll, then perhaps the GM would say something like, you successfully climb up the tree, but the last couple of branches that you used to climb up broke and snapped. While you still managed to leap to the window and climb into the building safely, you definitely could not safely get back down the way you came. Right? That's a succeed, but something bad kind of happened. And if I failed, well, the very last branch you were going to use to get up into the window breaks, and you fall, smashing through a few more of the branches down the way. And of course, I would take some damage, probably, or something else. Speaking of damage, how does damage work in this game? Well, there is something called the brownie points. And brownie points sounded too weird to me, so when I kind of like homebrewed the game, I changed them into what I call merit points. But in the original game, they're called brownie points. And it's fine. It makes sense. It's silly. The movie is silly. The vibe is silliness with this game. So I don't think it's a bad name, But when I wanted to kind of homebrew it into a more fleshed out game, I just went ahead and changed brownie points to merit points. But what are brownie points? Brownie points are... There are a bunch of things at one time. They're kind of your hit points, they're kind of like your experience points, and they are kind of like your extra resource dice pool. So every Ghostbuster starts off with 20 brownie points when they start the game. What you can do with brownie points is you can spend them. Each point you spend adds 1d6 to a roll you're making. And as far as I remember, there's no limit. Like if you have 25 brownie points and you want to spend all 25 to roll 25 dice plus whatever your stats allow you to, go ahead. Probably not going to fail. So maybe you would want to spend that many brownie points. Like 2 players might want to do that when the DM is like, you're risking crossing the streams. Which, even though crossing the streams has never done anything but good things in the films, it is apparently a very bad thing to do. You don't want to do it. What was it? Total plutonic reversal? Something like that. But my cat is yowling outside, so I will be right back. I'm going to switch back to the starting soon screen, but only for just a little bit. I'm going to go see what's up. Maybe he needs food. Maybe he needs his litter box changed. He's very picky about his litter box. But I'll be right back, guys. Okay. Turned out he just wanted some attention. It happens. He had food in his bowl. He just wanted to say hi. He had something to tell me. I don't really understand cat, so I don't know what it was, but he got to tell me, so that will have to be good enough. What was I talking about? Brownie points. So another way to use brownie points is you can actually spend a certain amount to increase a stat by 1. I don't remember exactly how many. I want to say it was, maybe it was 20 or maybe it was 30. Either way, you can spend brownie points to increase a stat of your choice. And then when I made my version of the game, I don't remember if this was in the original or not. I have to brush up on the original rules. It has been a while since I have played it. But I remember with my merit points, I allowed players to be able to not only increase their stat points with brownie points, but they could also purchase uh, new talents. I don't remember how you get new talents in the original game, or if you even ever do. But I believe you can. It would make sense that you could, right? So, and then last, when you take damage from a ghost or anything else, a lot of times the GM will do one of two things. You'll either lose a stat point, and it might even be temporary. Could be a temporary stat point loss or a permanent one, depending on how severe the situation might be. Or you can knock off some of a player's brownie points. If a player reaches 0 brownie points, I believe in-game rules, they are pretty much like they're out of commission. They're in the hospital, whatever it is, but that player is no longer on the job, we'll say. And so you don't want to lose all your brownie points. So even though you can spend brownie points to increase your chances of success on a roll or increase a stat permanently, you want to spend them somewhat carefully, because you could make yourself a liability on the job if you have too few. Now, death. There really is not death in the game. But like in my homebrew version, there definitely is. I think it would be kind of neat to be able to pretty much have a Ghostbuster who dies in your game, and maybe they become a ghost themselves. But the game is it's more of a party game than really like a traditional tabletop role-playing game. You know what I mean? It's meant to bust out, have a good time, have some laughs, drinking beers, eating pretzels. It's more of that kind of game in general. All right. So here's where I'm starting to get to the point of where I'm kind of wearing myself out on these little buildings. So I want to maybe make another place, another spot on the map that is a place of importance or of good interest. And I think I need to go ahead and make a police station. But which icon do I want to use for that? We'll go ahead and we'll just use one of these. So of course the police are involved in this game because and we'll just say Innsmouth Police Station. And we definitely want to make this smaller. We don't need it to be this big, so we'll bring that down to like, it could even be smaller than that. There we go. There we go. Innsmouth Police Station. Boom. Done. And I think Innsmouth Police Station would probably have a more main road going towards it. As would the town hall. So here's what we're going to actually do. We're going to alter some of this just so it all connects in a way that makes some sense. We will go ahead and we will fill back in So we'll add. We'll add this land back in. So that way that road can make sense there. These buildings, just demolish them. The families that live there, whatever. They can find someplace else to live, yeah. Very ruthless mayor in this town. Alright, so we have kind of like a more prominent, you know, road. It's not necessarily like really that much bigger, but I just wanted it to be able to stand out on the map more for the players to see. So they can choose which routes they want to go, how they want to go to places. I'll probably, you know what, I'll go ahead and make another road that goes down here. And we'll have it go straight out here. Now, why am I choosing this direction? No reason. No reason. I'm just making shit, guys. I am just making stuff. We'll have this road connect over here. There we go. So yeah, it's got like a little bit of weirdness where like right here, you know, it's like the layers. I don't know what causes that, and I probably should have figured out how to make it where it's just all flush, but I didn't, and I'm not going to go back and redo all of it now. Or maybe I will later. I don't know. There's no telling. So this is what we've kind of got so far. An overall look. I don't know. What do you guys think? I think it looks pretty good so far. Have a lot to do with it. And I won't go super crazy like filling out the whole thing or nothing. I'll probably put more smaller buildings and some key points around here, and like in here, but like a bunch of this will just stay kind of blankish, you know, there's nothing going on over there to that extent. But yeah, so it's been about an hour, so I will go ahead and end the stream here. I would like to thank anybody who stopped by, and if you watch this after the fact, thanks for watching. I'm very excited for this game. I will probably stream some more stuff like this. I don't expect it to be like hugely popular or anything, or people like flocking to come see it. Not that it's not worth seeing or anything, but it's not going to be a scheduled thing, you know. It's like whenever I just feel on a whim to do it, I guess that's when I'll do it. Jason's pretty much told me, you know, like when you feel like doing something, just go ahead and do it, more or less. If it's streaming something like this, or streaming a let's play of a video game, which I have a game that I'm going to do a let's play of very soon. I used to have, I technically still have a gaming channel that I did video game let's plays with a very close friend of mine, and we should probably pick back up on that. If we do, I'll share what it is and all the details for that another time, but I'm not even sure if it's something I would actually pick up on doing again. But I do play games on here every now and then. I've been playing a game called Grimrock. I haven't played it in a while now, probably like a month or two. To be honest, I kind of forgot about it. It's a neat game, and I probably will continue with that one because I did say that I would keep playing it at least until I died. Haven't died yet. But yeah, thank you for coming by. Thank you for seeing my tedious and probably insufficient methods of making maps on Incarnate. I will add a link to the website in this video's description. And yeah, thank you so much. And I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.